Our next guest tonight is one of the thousands of Ukrainian volunteers working in the background of the Russian aggression on Ukraine. She asked us not to give her full name, so we'll use her Twitter handle, which is Fairlane. Before the invasion, she worked as a senior language assistant at the Canadian Armed Forces in Ukraine, deployed as a part of Operation Unifier. Together with Walter Leck, among others, she's running something absolutely stunning, a 24/7 channel, actually a kind of a talking radio using the Twitter Space platform with the aim of raising awareness about the war in Ukraine and fundraising money for the NGO Come Back Alive. Welcome to TVP World, and thanks for your tremendous work that you are doing. Verlaine, let me start with the thing that people may not be familiar with. What is the nature of activity of your Twitter space, which basically, from my perspective, is like 24/7 working, talking radio with all the news regarding the story of a war in Ukraine. You are working 24/7.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's good to see you. Good to be here. Yeah, so when the war started, we understood that something must be done to raise awareness in a timely manner. And we know that some news are usually I like say delayed, especially for the countries and especially for the peoples who are overseas. And we have basically started running. Walter was the one on the team of our enthusiasts that started running Twitter Space, which is like a better version right now, but it's my dog is here. Started sorry for that, guys, but no everyone is basically living in the house, and we started Twitter Space, which is basically space where everyone can get new updates on situation on Ukraine, can find supporters, enablers, doers, analysts, scientists, PhD. So it's an open space for everyone who has something to contribute and something to share with. It's 24/7, as you mentioned, because it's important to keep everyone updated, to explain what is misinformation and how to deal with it. First weeks, I would say, we had Walter as a primary host, and he was working almost the whole day on his own. Then we joined our efforts, and now we have 2 shifts, a daily shift and a night shift. So we kind of split it so we won't burn out, because it's draining.
Well, but this is something which is very, very important. The fact that you are broadcasting 24 hours a day, and the fact that you are broadcasting while in Australia there is a night, and in Europe there is a day, and all the time there is no time difference in terms of this, because you do have people from basically all around the world who are interested in what is going on in Ukraine. And what is also very important, you do have and you do host lots of high professionals on each field of the things that are going on in Ukraine. Basically, if we are talking about no-fly zone, you are able to invite guests who know it personally, because they were, for example, I don't know, pilots of U.S. Air Force, and they know what they are talking about. This is kind of a service that you are providing, which basically doesn't have a match in the world infosphere right now. I don't know if you are aware of this.
Well, if there's a chance to be a change, then we are glad to be this change. And at times like this, it's good to know that world can be united through all the means. And it's good to know that regardless of where you are, regardless of your time zone, regardless of your, I don't know, nationality, like Australia, Japan, Canada, South Africa, we can have everyone, we can hear all the voices, we can know in real time what's going on, and we can deal with people, as you mentioned, and some questions right away. We did have a lot of Air Force pilots from the US. We had Lieutenant Colonels, our CO, our commander from the Up Unifier, Lieutenant Colonel Melanie Lake, who explained some of the situation on the ground and how actually NATO members were training Ukrainians, and why we all were sure that our guys have enough courage and willpower to continue going on. We did have a lot of scientists who explained why this completely delusional accusations of nuclear and biochemical threats for Ukrainians is just a madman's fairy tales. So it's a good space where you can ask your questions via DMs or via speaker requests and get the answers right away, not going in vain and making some sort of your own answers.
Verlaine, before I move to the political questions regarding the NATO summit right now and Volodymyr Zelensky speech, there's one more question about your activity and activity of your group. This is also a kind of a charity. You are raising money for the support of the Ukrainian resistance, and this support and the results of your work is also tremendous. Could you specify on this part of your activity?
Yes, you mentioned we encourage people to firstly share information which is truthful and fact-checked, and we also encourage people to share and donate to the NGO Come Back Alive, Повернись живим, comebackalive.in.com.ua. This is the NGO which has been proven by time. They work and operate in Ukraine. They are the first responders, basically. They are here and they know the priorities. They procure everything, every goods needed, and send it to the units that are in need of those products. And it's completely transparent. You can go to their page, Twitter feed. You can see all of the procurements and lists. We also have launched, there is a joint effort from the Canadian side, but actually it's an international effort which is called Mriya Aid. If you are on our Twitter space, it's in the nest. Yeah, information about it. There is a link where you can also make your donation when you're overseas, because obviously we are lacking non-lethal aid, lethal aid, equipment. We're lacking gear, lacking a lot of stuff because of this atrocious terrorist act by Russia. So we have a lot of activities that are overseas are helping us, and we have a lot of activities on the ground which can help as soon as possible.
All you have to do, if you are a Twitter, if you do have, or if you even do not have a Twitter account, you can join those conversations. You can easily find Verlaine on Twitter and join her Twitter space. I really recommend it. Verlaine, but you do also deliver high level of analysis regarding the political situation among the whole, around this whole atrocities and the war that is going on in Ukraine. We had a meeting of Volodymyr Zelensky today with the NATO representatives. Volodymyr Zelensky asked for 1% of NATO tanks to get 100% security. Could you emphasize on the reasons for which President of Ukraine made this claim?
Well, that obviously we are not a NATO country. We are not a member of NATO alliance. We can't be protected by Article 5, which invokes the collectual defense. But we are a partner of NATO countries. We do have allies from those countries, and they have provided us for all the time, like a lot of humanitarian aid, a lot of medical supplies, military aid, financial aid, intelligence, and we are grateful for everything that they've done at this point. We know that the no-fly zone is a no-go because it may bring to escalation, plus our jets won't be able to fly because no zone brings a no-fly zone for everyone, yeah. And it's going to be a potential escalation. So I think up to this point, everyone figures it out. But getting some military and lethal aid, as you mentioned, 1%, it's not that big of a deal. And we're not asking for a lot. So it seems reasonable because, as you have heard, probably as you have seen all the videos by leadership of Russia, they're not going to stop. They have imperialistic means, and it's not only about leadership. Some people who are brainwashed, and it's proven that they are brainwashed, like my relatives are in Russia, and they don't trust me. They trust the television. They know me for 30 years. They know that I don't lie. And they still trust television. So some people there also are full of those imperialistic USSR ideas, and it should be stopped. And in order to stop us, we can't just stop them with the stones and some kind of sticks. We have to have some kind of weapon to to save ourselves, to save Europe, for God's sake. Plus, I've constantly, like as you mentioned, I'm a senior language assistant, basically an interpreter. I know a lot of guys from National Guard of Ukraine, from the Air Forces of Ukraine, and their morale is high. The more they kill us, the angrier we become, the more determined we become to cast them out. But we can't do it on our own. So this is why we urge everyone to ask the officials to get us at least like air defense systems that might be functional for our troops, that they might use right away, which don't need a lot of, you know, weeks and days of training. That's what, like, for me, the request is reasonable. The only question how Russia will see it, because as you see, they don't care about their own people. They don't care about us. They just want to continue killing and bring a genocide further on. So,
Verlen, thank you very much for your presence. Keep up the great good work that you are doing. Again, I invite all of our viewers to join this Twitter space. Verlen can be found easily on Twitter. Thank you very much for your presence. And we hear each other on your Twitter space in a few minutes. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.